the way.
We wanted men. Spoken.
In a sec. There we go. I just hit record.
Getting road noise.
Well, we have quite a day.
I'm sure we'll get road noise. But yeah, we're on our way to see the Hall of Justice and the mural, and we're off to see sightseeing today. So it'll be a good day. We had an in-room sales tonight at like 9 o'clock, so it'll be a late night and an early morning. So tomorrow morning is gonna suck donkey balls, but it'll be fun because it's room sales and it's Star Wars. And I talked to the manager of the hotel this morning. She's like, "I know we're gonna have a bunch of toy nerds in here tonight." And I'm like, "Yes, ma'am. If you want toys, tonight's the place to be at the Jury in Cincinnati." So, yeah, Hall of Justice this morning. Narayan, I've got Dan and Tony with us, along with Narayan, and we're driving to see the Hall of Justice and the mural and do the sightseeing. There's my wife texting me that she found a Thrawn for like $150, and I said, no, I paid $15 for it, like a couple of weeks ago, and she was like,
Which Thrawn?
Well,
one of the 3D
before we get to that, let's
Thrawns.
talk about yesterday.
But Narayan, it's my podcast.
All right.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about yesterday. Tony didn't get here till late because of traffic, but he was able to hitch on to the late night stuff. But the three of us, Dan and Narayan and I, we hung out with the Limkels all day long. Or Ryan Limkel, he kind of.
At least Ryan for most of it.
Ryan, he was our unofficial tour guide of the city. But Narayan's the one that set up. We had a couple of tours. We went, the coolest part of the day yesterday, for me, although I'm jumping like way ahead when I probably shouldn't be, is the fact that I got to see 2 rocket firing Feds in under an hour. So that was kind of fun. But we saw, how much stuff were we allowed to talk about this? How much stuff were we allowed to talk about, Narayan? That we saw yesterday.
About all of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what people like, but we saw like a full run of the second wave of Ewoks and a bunch of proto molds. You know, I'm learning so much on this trip because you're learning about proto molds, which is internal hard copy stuff, and it's done totally different than a normal hard copy, and that's collectible, and you're learning. People are collecting more than just Star Wars stuff, and it's cool to collect more than just Star Wars stuff, which I find, it's not a relief, but a relief, because you get in that where people are, you're in a Star Wars club, so that's what you got to collect. But no, you can collect all kinds of crazy crap, which is awesome. It's toys, so, and people collect everything, and they collect everything of everything. Which was awesome. Narayan, what were your thoughts? Dan, what were your thoughts from the weekend so far, or yesterday's trips?
I mean, incredible collections, incredibly generous hosts. The things that jump out to me is the style of display as much as what's in it. Well, maybe not as much as what's in it, because it's incredible, but the curation, the display, the thoughtfulness that goes behind it, the stories that go behind it, those things are, frankly, as special as the items themselves. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's what really sort of jumps out at me. But in terms of like going through what we saw, it's just incredible. The original, just being able to see elements from the entire process of concept to, mock-up to construction, variations, all the little pieces that go together to make these toys. It's just fascinating to see it sort of play out in a historical physical form, if that makes any sense.
Right, yeah, because we were seeing stuff from like the 2D, the blueprint basically, or the concept drawings, to a mock-up, to a hard copy, to a first shot, to the production piece. And yeah, just being able to see a run like that on anything is cool. Narayan, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, so the collections we visited Tracy Hamilton's and then Jerry James Gallo in the afternoon. And yeah, I mean, to be in with Tracy Hamilton, first of all, just a very gracious host. I think I consider him one of the gentlemen in the hobby. And just an amazing collection that just spans, as you just said, the whole process. I mean, he had literally a lot of one-of-a-kind pieces in there that you probably will not see in many collections, if in any. I think he had a full unproduced droids and Ewoks run. I think there's only like 3 or 4 of those out there, and probably not in all one collection. So just to see them all in one place is pretty amazing. He had a rocket fet. He had hard copies for several characters, silicone molds, sculpts, photo art, mock-ups, blueprints, Kenner design materials, and an impressive prop collection as well.
Yeah.
A lot of screen use props from the Death Star, especially.
Well, actually, even the sequels.
Right, and yeah, again, very well displayed. He has all glass cases, full visibility, well lighted. The room is well spaced, so you can everything just shines in that room. And the pieces are just really stellar. He has a full mock run in there, of course, and the full loose run. But yeah, some of those items, I was very impressed. I was pretty impressed the last time I was there, but I was even impressed with some of the stories where he said how he got these and how he sold some of them and then got them back. And I think he did that with an unproduced droids and Ewoks run. And it's a little different than just like selling a mint on card that you once had and then getting that back versus something like that.
Yeah.
But that's a pretty amazing thing, and you can tell. I think he told a story once about finding, what was it,
one of the unproduced, but
it was who's the character?
I don't remember
from
what.
Droids.
Yeah, one of the unproduced droids.
Not Keziban. It's
Kleb Zelok?
No, it was like the Keziban.
Oh, Monjolpa.
Monjolpa. Yeah, so the Monjolpa figure at Trader's World, in the early 90s, when I was also visiting Trader's World in the early 90s. I was looking for Power of the Force 2 things that I couldn't find in the store, while he was finding Monjolpa and buying him for a few dollars, which was a great story to hear. But yeah, just an incredible history there. And he's very modest, I think, about what he has. But what he's got is so amazing. So I was glad we were able to visit him again. And he happens to be in my hometown, which is also a bonus treat for visiting him. And then Jerry James, first time I visited his collection, as I think he said he hasn't gotten many visitors that have seen his collection, in person like that, and that astounded me because he has one of the most well displayed collections that I've ever seen. He collects a lot of pre-production, but especially bounty hunters, Wampa, a lot of Revenge of the Jedi box proofs and chromalins, proofs in general. I think he's got a full Revenge and Return run of proofs, but I'm just astounded. Also some amazing Chuck Norris collection. I learned for the first time Chuck Norris is a Kenner line. For some reason, it never occurred to me that was there, but he has an incredible line, both pre-production and production, of Chuck Norris line that came out in the 80s as well. But again, another gracious host, and I was astounded. He just said, "Oh, there's this other room over here." It was like the walk-in closet off the main room. That room was like the highlight for me,
Right?
because yeah, it had all the bounty hunter proofs. Very incredible IG-88 run, but all the Revenge, Return of the Jedi proofs were in there, and he had the 6-pack chromalins for the ESP 6-packs. Gosh, I mean, I could go on and on in that collection, right?
But the thing that surprised, what I liked in that collection is you walk in and you look up and there's the gold Vader case, which was something, pre-production item. Right. And then he had, I'm a micro guy, so seeing the micro collection stuff, it just, anytime I could see the pre-production stuff of that, but he had a 4-up Vader with the mold, and he had a Vader run the pointing Vader that was just amazing. But going back to Tracy, it was Tracy the first guy we saw, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Tracy Hamilton.
But hearing his story of finding that figure at Trader's World for under $2 was like finally putting, giving approval that crap actually happened, because I've never heard it directly from the person. It's like a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend's uncle's brother's cousin's nephew's college roommate found this stuff in Trader's World, Yeah. So you were able to actually say, I picked this up at Trader's World for $1.50, and
he had the piece in his hand,
right? And be like, I was the one that found it, and this is the piece that I found, and tell the story behind it. So that was cool to me, because you were actually putting validity to it. That's a big word, isn't it, Narayan? But that's impressive. Narayan's going to message me here soon that I used it wrong, but he'll tell me. But
you're good. And Tracy's so, I mean, he let us hold his rocket fed,
right?
And let us take pictures with it, which is amazing.
Rocket fed, guys. Yeah. Rocket fed.
And so wow.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the Kenner items too. There was a very impressive item in Jerry's collection that was on the wall. He had a lot of kind of Kenner, employee items and tools, but there was an apron from one of the Kenner sculptors that was framed up on the wall, which is just an amazing piece. It was still like dirty with all the, the wax and the whatever else that got on this apron, and I thought it was just stunning to me that something like that has survived all these years and is in someone's collection.
Right, and he had her badge and a picture of her, and that was a cool piece to see. But both of those collections were just wow, just.
Anything to add, Dan, on Jerry's?
The apron on the wall was maybe my favorite thing I saw all day yesterday. I mean, it was just. Just think about what was made with that, and I believe Jerry said that
she worked on the first
21. So then you really think, wow, like this was there. This was at the very beginning. But like I keep focusing on displays. Like Jerry's was in a basement with a very usable space. So it was like there was a museum aspect to it, right? There was a lot of different lines and a lot of volume, but you could move around, and everything was so thought out, and I think Jerry expressed that too. Like he definitely thinks about every single cabinet, every single box, every single frame, but there was the set of first shot bounty hunters, right, and all of their little risers, and
which also includes a rocket fed.
Yeah, yes, exactly. So yeah, it was just really wonderful, and Tracy's too, and honestly, we haven't talked about visiting Ryan, but Ryan has this vertical case of Raiders of the Lost Ark, Indiana Jones stuff, and it's just so thought out, so perfect. I just kind of love seeing that stuff.
And what was unique about Ryan's Raiders stuff, he was like, I'm piecing this together out of stuff we find in the bottom of totes from Star Wars collections that I bought. So I'm putting this collection together basically for free, because I'm finding bits and pieces, and it may take me buying 5 or 6 collections to put together one figure, but it's just the thought, it's the adventure of getting that collection, and just it was amazing. And he's got a pretty decent Gremlins run, and
My Pet Monster.
Yeah.
One cool piece.
Was it Ghost? He had some Ghostbusters stuff.
Yeah. There was some other line. It was like a pirate or
Pirates of the Dark Water, I think.
Pirates
Yeah.
of Dark Water, yeah.
Just an oddball cartoon from the early 90s.
And it's just another thing that I think, like, we saw in Ryan's collection. He showed us this garage of all the, the finds that they've gotten in the last few months, and like how he has to sort through all those things. But also just some of the unusual pieces they just kind of pick up along the way, not necessarily even Star Wars, but like there were 2 Smurfs that were on the couch. I mean, these were like life-size Smurfs, and we're like, I looked at them and like I recognized them immediately because like I grew up in this area, and I was like, were those from Kings Island, which is a local amusement park? It's like, yep, they were like at an auction. There used to be a Smurf ride there, and so these were like 2 Smurfs that they auctioned off from that ride, and Ryan and Sean got those, and it was just kind of cool to just see that they pick up this stuff, and I mean, what a piece, right?
Yeah.
So like hard, like resin Smurfs.
Yes.
They've even been made of, I don't know,
Or
some
concrete or something.
They were
Yeah.
like giant plushes. They were like
No, they were like 2 to 2.5 foot tall.
Wow.
Like what would have been on the side when you're riding the
some
ride.
durable
Yeah,
material.
that's
It
wild.
would have been, part of the ride. So.
Yeah, it's almost like a plaster.
fiberglass or something.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah,
Glass.
yeah, exactly. And
That's
he had
cool.
taken a magic eraser to one of them, so it was not like brand new, but it was really clean. And so you could see like the before and after with one of them hadn't had the magic eraser yet, the other one had, and the one that had the magic eraser was like, wow, that's really in nice shape. The colors were super vibrant. They had sort of like holes in their head because they have to mount them somewhere on the wall or on a stand. So it's it was all engineered, but yeah, he was at a local auction place where they have weekly auctions like we have in all of our towns, and they had like a preview day, and he saw it, and it was like a no-brainer, because it went right back to essentially some of the happiest days of your lives, like those are associated with it. So
I think he said that was his favorite piece that he had in there too.
Yes,
Yeah, he did. He was like, if I had
For
to
that
pick
reason.
one piece,
Yeah, for that reason.
yeah,
It took him
it's
back
my
to
childhood. And I love it. And then we went to Mike and Vicky's house for dinner last night.
But before that,
Before that, we went to Sean Lipkel's
his own
house.
Yeah.
I got to see some of his pre-production stuff. He had a bunch of 2D art, just some amazing pieces.
Yeah, most of modern Star Wars and counter lines, some as well as vintage counter lines and other lines.
Right.
I think most of their vintage Star Wars is at their parents' place, but a lot of cool stuff, in his own home there. And just a lot of cool 2D pieces for sure.
Right. And Dan, you picked up some slides, right?
I did. So I've over the years I've bought a number of Return of the Jedi Endor related slides from a local advertising graphic arts promotional company. And these slides, what is shown in them are carded figures, boxed, vehicles, boxed play sets. Some of the figures are loose, but most of the things that you see that are loose are hard copies, and most of the things that you see that are in packaging are mock-ups. So I bought a bunch of them from Sean over the years, and I had never seen the speeder bike. I have like the hang glider and the catapult and things like that, but I'd never seen the speeder bike, so I was like, oh. And then he had a Lumat and a Paplu, so anyway, I just couldn't really pass it up. So
Awesome. But yeah, he had a it was just a cool collection, and he didn't have a lot,
A lot
of what he
of
had.
a lot of real West pieces.
Yeah.
Butch and Sundance, the early years
Beautiful
slides,
stuff. Yeah.
box flats, the photo. Essentially, the photo art for the card backs. I think,
Yep.
Right.
including the kind of overlays that came with them. So really, historical pieces for those lines.
And he had these masks. I didn't get to get a great close up, but he had some masks. Were those presentation boards? I think
I would assume
Maybe,
so,
yeah.
but it was like one was of Outlaw, and I didn't recognize the other
they were
one.
really. I mean, they were like 18 by 24
amazing
boards
pieces.
that were just hand inked, hand painted, beautiful.
Right, and he had one that looked like one of the mass vehicles, but I don't think it was Mask. I think it was a ripoff of Mask or something. But
interesting.
I didn't ask about it.
Yeah.
I should have, but it looked like the pickup truck, the Bronco that pops up, and the guy, it's got the.
Might have just been an unproduced, something.
It could have been a version of that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I should have asked him, but that was pretty cool.
They have some Raiders of the Lost Ark or Indiana Jones line, like, hand-painted, hand-inked items on the wall. It's just, when you see any original art, right? From a craftsperson, like, it's always special. And just to see it in that variety and volume is amazing.
Yeah. And then we went straight from there, we went to Mike and Vicky's house. And they've always been very gracious host. My wife and I, in April, were able to go visit their collection and strike up a friendship with them. Because they both do Ewoks, and my wife's a big Ewok collector. So they already had that automatic kinship there. And she had a chili bar, so we got to try some of the local chili and hot dogs. And what were those? Were they melt? I called them melts, but they were something else.
Conies?
What were they? Had like some sausages.
Second lane from the right.
Oh, Mets.
Mets.
That's what you mean. They're small hot dogs.
Yeah, those were good.
Yeah.
I got to pick up some beer from the local party store down the street, so that's going to come home with me. Some of that, but that was they've got all kinds of stuff. What'd you guys think of that collection?
My favorite thing, it was 2 floors of gems and treasures. My favorite thing was in the sort of like, I guess maybe the attic level maybe is what it used to be, but maybe it was always bedrooms. But she had a bedroom that essentially she was able to design it and model it after like a child's bedroom, 10-year-old's bedroom, whatever it is. And you really sort of feel when you go in that room like total nostalgia. It's like you're stepping back in time. And I just thought it was like so well thought out and lit. Honestly, like it was like really like like you're just like dripping in a vintage feel in that space.
Right.
Steve Sansweet at Rancho Obi-Wan has a room like that, but this is in someone's house. It's a usable guest room. And I just like couldn't get over it. It just was like sort of, you feel like enveloped by it. So
Tony's seeing the terminal for the first
I
time.
didn't realize it would just be like here.
As Narayan almost gets sideswiped. There you go. Let's see. Have y'all seen this before?
Only in plastic and on TV.
We just make a right-hand turn.
It's pretty impressive. There's a whole road that kind of leads up to the Union Terminal, the Hall of Justice, and it's a very impressive kind of lead up. There's a big fountain in the front. It's an classic Art Deco architecture, huge building, a huge clock in the middle here.
I would just park here.
And just it's very impressive when you first lay your eyes upon it. So.
It's nice.
And you immediately, when you see it, it's like that's the Hall of Justice.
Yes,
because that's what it evokes right away. The shape, the arch with the large windows and columns and everything. So, and the fountains even.
We can be expectant mothers. There's a bunch of reserved spots for expectant mothers right up front. But we're going to go check.
You just lost all the expectant mothers podcast listeners.
Dude, we have like one person that listens, one lady that listens to the podcast.
Stop, dude.
It's my wife.
Stop.
So our podcast is a sausage fest, man.
Now you really set the hook.
Yeah, I'm horrible. All you ladies, I'm sorry. I apologize. Sorry, babe.
Probably a good time to tune out, and we'll get some more coverage later in the day. We're going to do some sightseeing, I guess.
Yeah, for Hall of Justice. Welcome to the Hall of Justice.